this morning, Mayor Hatley indicated that the county was using the state legislation to get this ordinance passed, this bill. We reached out to several representatives who indicated that this group, actually, the tourism lobby, had reached out to them requesting this legislation.
First of all, I want to say thank you for all of you being here today. Today is a press conference to discuss the House Bill 4597. The proposed South Carolina House Bill 4597 is an affront to cities and towns in Horry County, and it is a direct threat to the progress that we have made with respect to home rule for all cities and towns in South Carolina. It is a great leap backward for our state. Mr. Garner, Mayor, come on up. House Bill 4597 seeks to block our cities and towns for rightfully collecting legally imposed fees within our own jurisdiction. It also seeks to deny our right as duly elected officials to determine how to expend revenues collected within our jurisdictions for the good of our communities.
We'll welcome to the podium Mayor Bethune from Mayor Brenda Bethune from Myrtle Beach. I'm so sorry, Mayor Childs from Surfside Beach.
Well, thank you so much. Good afternoon. Surfside Beach relies heavily on hospitality tax revenue. Surfside Beach was in full support of the 20-year agreement supporting Ride 1 to build county infrastructure. Surfside Beach wants to be a good neighbor, but its priority is to ensure the town is financially secure. And I might add that way back when this began, the administrator and I sat down with our county rep and suggested setting up an ad hoc committee to get with the councils and try to work this issue out. And I might add, we have not heard one word back from that. So we still stand on that about setting up a committee of some sort to try to get through and work this out. And I'd like to turn this over to Mayor Myrtle Beach, Brenda Bethune.
Thank you. Good morning. It is very disheartening that our actions to put our citizens and our communities first have been taken out of context by so many. We have a fiduciary obligation to our residents, and we have the lawful right to manage our funds, our citizens' money, for the good of our own communities. We are putting our citizens first, and we are doing so legally, responsibly, and ethically. Thank you, and I'll ask that Mayor Hatley come back, please, for our closing statements.
Thank you, all the mayors, and I want to thank all of before I go any further, Mayor Garner, would you like to say a few words? Okay, thank you. I want to thank all of the council people who are here with us today. We, as a League of Cities, stand together on this issue. So I have a few comments I would like to make before we close. It is clear to us that under home rule, a county may only collect a uniform service charge, such as a hospitality fee or an accommodation tax fee, within the corporate limits of the city with the consent of that city. And we have not consented. In 1996, North Myrtle Beach and other municipalities authorized Horry County to impose a 1.5 hospitality fee within our city limits for a period of 20 years. That agreement has expired, and it was not renewed. The basis for the 20-year agreement involved revenue to be used to implement a comprehensive road plan adopted by Horry County in concert with the municipalities of the county. We did not agree to any other use. We did not empower Horry County to continue to charge and collect a fee or tax beyond that 20 years for any purpose. Since the city's informed Horry County that it must stop collecting the fee or tax within our jurisdiction, Horry County Council members have bobbed and weaved using the funding of I-73 and other issues and distractions. For example, North Myrtle Beach, nor any of these other cities, have said that it is not supporting I-73. What we have said is that Horry County, without consulting with the cities and towns, made the decision to use our fees of tax money to fund I-73, and toward that end also devised its own contract with the South Carolina DOT. Now that is hardly a good example of negotiating openly and in public. It is more an example of how to extort cities and towns under cover of darkness. Was the county's agreement with South Carolina DOT the best arrangement? Who knows? There was never any discussion with the cities and the towns. Was the county's disbursement of fee money collected illegally within the city's jurisdiction the best approach to attaining I-73? Who knows? There was never any discussion. Horry County just decided to do it. The city of North Myrtle Beach supports I-73, and it understands its value to our future. However, we do understand that the city has a legal right to collect all of the hospitality and accommodations tax fee in its jurisdiction and decide how best to allocate those funds. Horry County does not have that right. It is obvious to us that Horry County knows that it blatantly decided to exercise authority or power it does not possess. It is obvious to us that despite the hue and cry for open negotiations, Horry County is not interested in negotiating anything at all. Why else would they run to our representatives and have them to propose such a bill as Bill 4597? There is no interest in negotiation there. Horry County is only using it as a big club that the county council can use to let people who live and work in our cities and towns know that they are not valued, that they are not part of Team Horry. It is hard to believe that our state representatives will go along with this overt power grab, but they are doing the county's bidding. We will fight proposed House Bill 4597. It is dishonest and affront to the hard-won progress that has been in home rule in South Carolina for the past decades. Finally, and once more for the record, North Myrtle Beach City Council, together with everyone here today, remain open to negotiating a path forward toward achieving I-73 for the benefit of everyone who lives, works, and visits here. There are alternative, effective approaches to be considered that will work for the benefit of all that is involved. Thank you so much for being here today.
I have a question.
Yes.
When the county decided to extend this tax last year before, there was no objection then from the cities. Why are the cities just now objecting?
They never came and talked with us about it. They mentioned that they were going to do something like this, but we expected them to negotiate with us before they ever put it into effect.
When they went through the process of all of the votes they took, though, there was no input.
They didn't negotiate with us. They never called us and asked us to have a seat at the table.
But you didn't object then.
Well, they never asked us for us to have a seat at the table. So they didn't. So when did they pass it?
It was 2 years ago.
No, they didn't pass it 2 years ago.
2017.
They
I'm sorry, 2018.
Well, they didn't pass it while Mark was still here.
Yes, they did.
I thought they put it off till after the election.
No, they extended it in 2017, and then in 2018 is when they did the agreement with the State Department of Transportation.
Well, the bottom line is they did it illegally, and it is the law by home rule that they have to make they have to ask for and work with us for our permission to collect funds within our city, and it has to be signed.
I guess I'll answer your question. I'm from the town of Vayner. We did not know about it even new over 2 years ago. So you would think that they would contact each municipality and say, okay, folks, this is coming back up again, we're going to take a vote on it. They'd come back and say, okay, we're going to take a vote on it. I've been on town council over 20-some years. Actually, Mr. Loftus met with the town of Vayner approximately over 20 years ago, and I made the motion to approve the collection of sales tax in Vayner. And to be honest with you, forgot about it until all this came up. So no, there was no notification from the county that they were going to update that again. So that's my answer.
Mr. Gardner, I'm from Ainer, South Carolina.
Yes,
Most of my
sir.
family lives there. We spoke with the Gardner team this morning. There's obviously a lawsuit with Myrtle Beach, but Gardner's team says they'll meet with everyone they're not suing right now. Why wouldn't those who are not under a lawsuit meet openly with Mr. Gardner without Myrtle Beach?
Well, we're the League of Cities, and we all have the best interests of our own cities, but we're also colleagues. So there's power in a group. And I think it would be inappropriate for us to meet individually with the county. But I think we need to meet as a group, and that's where our power would be at.
Would you be willing to meet as a committee, as Mr. Charles has suggested, where everyone in the city has representation with the county and talking about possible regional resolution?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we've asked for all along.
Well,
Mayor Hadley said that earlier, that we want to meet.
But would you willing to meet in public, though, as a public forum? Just like we're talking now.
Well, I would like to ask how many contracts, in fact, was the contract with the South Carolina DOT made in a public forum? Did they negotiate that contract with the South Carolina DOT on how much money the county was going to put in? Did they negotiate that in public? But now, all of a sudden, everything wants to be public. If you're really interested in negotiating, first of all, contracts are very difficult to negotiate when you have hundreds of people sitting in a room. It's very difficult. I know no city, no county, anyone who negotiates contracts within a public forum. And once those contracts in a private setting is negotiated, then the contract has to be made public, and you have to have public comment.